Well, hi guys, this is Dr. Drake 63, and we're gonna do an unboxing video today, which we haven't done for a while. And yeah, it's a Glock. So you're thinking, which model are we gonna get looking at? And today we're gonna take a look at something that a little bit of an outlier in terms of Glock, in terms of what people buy the most, and that is the Glock 41 in 45 ACP. And you can kind of see typical what all comes with a Glock. Now this one I'm picking up secondhand from somebody who bought two, tricked out one for competition shooting, and rarely if ever shot this one, which is kind of cool. You can see that it comes with 3 magazines. These are interchangeable with the Glock 21 in 45 ACP. And you know, this whole backstrap array, which I never use, but a lot of people like them. I was trying to date this gun, and I figured out the best way to do it is let's look at when it was test shot, and that was on January 2nd, 2014. So this gun was likely put together in 2013. It's a Generation 4. And they really haven't done much with this model since then. But you know, typical Glock stuff. Here's your brush. Here's all your information. I bet I already know how to take it down, right? But you know, the question is why do you need something that has an 8-inch slide and a barrel that's over 5 inches long? What's the use of something like this? We're going to talk about that. This is adjustable sight version, and so you've got you can drift for windage and elevation using these 2 screws, and the front sight. This is not tritium, but these are a little bit more beefed up than the nylon sights you see on a lot of Glocks, which I've never had a problem with, but some people have. Now, this is a long line of series of Glocks I've owned. I've owned the 2 different versions of the 43. My daily carry for several years has been the 19 Generation 5. I have owned the 21 and the 20. Found those both to be kind of bulky. Didn't really like the feel of them in hand. This one, even though it takes the same magazines as the 21, according to Jerry Michalek, is about a 1/16 of an inch thinner in the grip, which I can feel that difference. I didn't like how big those double stack grips were with those others that I mentioned, the 20 and the 21. But the biggest thing is this slide here is just at about an inch, and that's quite a difference in terms of how slim this is versus the 20 or the 21. But it's just your standard Glock. It takes down like a Glock. We're going to shoot this. We're going to shoot this in comparison with another 45 that I absolutely love, which is this Colt. And this is the Classic series. And if you've watched my videos, you know I've made a couple modifications. I put an arched mainspring housing on it. And I will have to say that I do like the feel of the grip of the 45 being a little bit slimmer in hand than I do this. But the reason I'm going to do a lot of comparisons and shooting and dimensions and so forth on this is when you hear people talk about a 1911 versus a Glock, they're typically talking about it in terms of the round, and they're thinking of the Glock of being a 9mm, whatever the case may be. Now, you'll notice a lot when you look at my videos that I do a lot of comparisons, this rifle to that rifle, and there's a specific reason for that. I try to pick firearms that other people widely use and give them a point of reference for things like weight, shootability, accuracy, things of that nature. And so this is no different. Comparing the Glock 41 to a Colt is certainly not an apples to apples comparison when you're talking about the 1911 platform. The 1911 platform was designed for a specific function, and it wasn't designed with accuracy in mind as much as it was in terms of durability and functionality for the materials that were available at the time. I'm not suggesting that one gun's better than the other, but you'll see these comparisons. I compare a lot of carry guns to my Glock 19. Why is that? Because that's what I'm used to, and it also happens to be one of the most widely sold concealed carry guns in the world. So there's reasons what I do that. They're usually not apples to apples comparisons because no two handguns are alike. But I do try to give you a point of reference, and I hope that helps. A little weight comparison, and I can assure you both of these guns have been safety checks. They do have full magazines, so there's 7 rounds in this magazine, but it is not loaded. And this is the traditional Colt Series 70, and that's coming in at 2 pounds 12 ounces. Okay, so you have 7 rounds in this firearm, 2 pounds 12 ounces. Now what's the Glock doing here? 2 pounds 4 ounces. So you're talking about 8 ounces or half a pound less, believe it or not. And with that, you do have a longer barrel, and you have currently 13 rounds in there. If I had one in the chamber, then you would actually have 14 round capacity, which is amazing. So this is the chamber indicator. So if there's a round in the chamber, this will protrude a little bit. I'm actually going to show you that real quick. If you notice how flush that fits. And now you notice there that it's got a slight protrusion. So besides that being your extractor claw, it also acts as a chamber indicator. Round full chamber indicator, which is real easy to feel with your finger. So now this gun is not in the safe condition, which is why you don't see my finger anywhere near the trigger. And we've cleared that and safety checked it. So this is now a gun that does not have any ammo in either the magazine or the chamber. And again, you can kind of see it's not a real big indicator, but you can feel it with your finger when this piece right here is protruding. So again, just some dimensional comparisons. You can see if you line the barrels up here that very similar in overall length. Right here, this little portion of the tail sticks out a little bit further than the Glock, but if you measure it from the back of the grip all the way up, they're almost identical. So the real big difference you have here is you have a polymer frame, which gives you a lot of weight savings, which gives you the ability to add a lot of ammo, a longer slide for sure. You can see this one is protruding all the way back this far. Here we stop right there, so that's almost a ½ inch more slide. And in terms of sight radius, it's pretty pronounced. If you stack up the rear side of this Glock and measure the sight radius up to the front sight, you'll see you've got about an inch more sight radius. And for longer distance shooting, that's kind of a big deal. And I am aware that you can get Colt 1911s or various versions of 1911s with longer slides. But this guy right here, you know, it's got that solid feel, it's got that traditional look, which a lot of guys are used to, and a lot of guys are going to say, hey, you know, why would I want this plastic fantastic? Glocks aren't my thing. I hear that a lot. And to be just perfectly frank with you, this is as durable a firearm as this is. And a lot of people are going to say, no, it's not. It's made out of polymer. I've seen pictures of dogs chewing it up. Yeah, whatever. If you let dogs get at your firearms, I guess you have some concerns. But as you can see here, with the longer slide, you've got a cutout here at the end of the slide, which protrudes beyond the frame. And that's not a port or anything else like that. It's just meant to save some weight. So your spring, instead of coming all the way to the end, like most Glocks, stops short, as you can see down in that slide. And again, they're trying to just save some weight on that so you can add some more ammo and have a platform that's lightweight. And we'll find out when we shoot it what kind of difference that makes. I've been told that muzzle flip and felt recoil is about like a 9mm, so we'll be the judge of that. So this takes down just like any other Glock. You do a safety check, you pull your trigger, you pull your slide back just about a 1/4 inch, 1/4 inch, and it comes right off. And then you can see, again, just about like any other Glock, the difference being this extension. So the end of your spring is right here, instead of going all the way to the end to be equal to the barrel. But besides that, it's got that double capture spring, which I find to be innovative. And then your barrel comes right out. Take a real good look at inside the barrel, and that looks brand new and shiny. You also notice that in terms of the feed ramp, it's pretty generous. You can see obviously it has been fired once or twice. There's some brass there as it enters the barrel. But the one thing about these Glocks, I kind of liken them to an AK or something, where they're going to eat just about everything. I've never had issues with any kind of ammo in Glocks because they're designed, keeping in mind that in the modern world, we have hollow points, jacketed hollow points, every type of scenario you can imagine. So just taking a look at this barrel, it measures over 5 inches. I believe it's like 5.1, and that's going to give you a little bit better velocity than some of the shorter barrels. So pretty simple thing there. They did some other interesting stuff. If you look right here, you'll see that they've actually milled out some additional material, again, to save in weight. They wanted to have a longer slide, but not a heavier slide. And, you know, it's your typical Glock finish. So this is a 5-6-year-old firearm, and it looks brand new. Granted, it hasn't been fired a lot, but it's going to look like this unless I beat on it with a hammer or something. It's going to look like this pretty much for its lifetime, because that's the finish that they use. And here's your frame, which weighs next to nothing. And again, I know there's a lot of guys that this is their problem with Glock, is that there is a polymer frame. Because it's plastic, they have it in their mind that it's not a durable material. And I think that's a bit of a misnomer. I mean, number one, this isn't going to rust. I guess it could melt with super high temperatures, but if you and your firearm are in those temperatures, you're dead too. But you see that it's just got the classic Glock design. And like I said, they did thin this just a little bit from the 2021, 2023 models, where you have a little tiny bit more ability to get your hand around that. I always thought it was like holding on to a 2x4 shooting the 20 or the 21, but still is not as slim a grip as the 1911. If you see just where my hand comes around and where my thumb touches my middle finger, okay, I get a little bit better wraparound with that 1911. Now, differences in where the trigger's located, the model Series 80s are coming out a little bit like 1/4 inch more or so, but it is a slimmer firearm in hand, but not markedly so. So we're going to test the trigger pull here, and you notice that I've got that double safety mechanism on the trigger pulled back. That comes in at 7 pounds on the scale, which is about what's advertised. Try it again. There we go. Let's see what we come up with. And this one's at 6.5 pounds. So the real proof is going to be in the pudding, as they say. I'm going to take these out and put some rounds through both of them. They're both fine firearms. Obviously, the Colt is something that is more of a traditional piece, more of a, for lack of a better word, an iconic firearm. The Glock 41 is something that is as of yet to achieve that status. But I've heard nothing but good things about it in terms of accuracy. We know how Glocks function. So we're going to find out. The proof's in the pudding, as they say. So these are my very first ever shots with this firearm. Didn't practice before. Taking very first shots, as I said, and what I'm noticing right off the bat is just how absolutely soft the recoil is as advertised. It's more of a push than a flip, which I like. Which is true of 45s in general, but even less so. And here's my very first target. I can't complain about that as far as just being on the bullseye from the get-go. It's just a remarkably soft shooting 45, and the sights are very, very easy for my eyes to acquire. And of course, the 1911, which you see me shooting here, doesn't have any kind of paint or anything on them. But if you take a look at that muzzle rise, again, it's not flippy, but that's quite a bit of rise when you look at it in slow motion. And now we're going to compare that to shooting the Glock 41 and get a slow motion shot here in a second. And you're going to see more of a push and less of a flip at the end of the barrel. Still rises, but not as markedly so. And that's impressive to me. So that's one thing that I really like about it. Now here I am just shooting the Colt again. I'm more used to the trigger. The difference in accuracy isn't great, but I would bet you that at distance, and we'll have to test this out, that I'm going to be able to be more on target with that Glock 41. So I can tell you that I do shoot the Glock 41 right out of the box more accurately than my Colt 1911, and it's not a knock on Colt. The Glock happens to have much easier to acquire sights and has a longer sight radius, so duh, right? So just some final thoughts on this Glock 41. Very impressed shooting. It shot like my Glock 19 in 9mm. So all the extra slide length and so forth has served well to mitigate recoil. And, you know, compared to shooting a 1911, which I don't find to be a bad recoil gun at all, even less recoil. So between these sights, which are very visible to my eye, and just the overall lightweight of it, I'd have to give this 2 thumbs up for sure. I'm going to enjoy shooting this particular gun for a long time, I think. When I get a gun, usually we shoot it and make some determinations whether or not it's going to be a keeper or not. And this one definitely is. So I appreciate you watching along with me today. This is Dr. Drake 63 saying thanks for watching. Stay safe, stay shooting.